People pleasing. I feel as though I'm a major victim when it comes to people pleasing. And actually, when I was doing my 2024 goals
Yep.
with Jules, people pleasing is probably one of the things I want to. Is it get better at, or is it try to work on?
I think it's try to work on or try to get rid of.
Yeah, because I've come to the conclusion that my people pleasing is, yes, pleasing everybody, but it's not benefiting me. I'm just sort of not benefiting me, but it's.
But that's what people pleasing is. You put other people's needs before your own.
Yeah.
And that can become a bit of a detriment to yourself. It's like an emotional toll. It's taxing because you're putting. It can be mistaken with being selfless. Like you're putting everyone first and not putting yourself anywhere in that equation.
Yeah. So on today's episode, I want to get my experiences with people pleasing out there, and I want Julia's take on people pleasing as well, because Julia doesn't people please to the point where I people please. And I've realized that I'm pretty bad now, to the point where there's things that I genuinely don't want to do. Let's just say go out. Somebody's like, let's go out to dinner. And I'm literally so exhausted or so tired.
And you will say yes.
I would just say yes. Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
And I know there's people even out there that are literally not financially stable, and they'll have their friends be like, oh, let's go to this concert, which is like $500. And they'll be like, oh, yeah, let's do it. But they're not financially
and also
stable.
they don't even want to go.
Yeah, exactly. So
but it's because
this is why I wanted to do the episode today, just so that people please, or they don't think they do, but once listening to this episode, they realize, oh, maybe I do put others before myself. Start to realize and be like, you know what, let's work on this together.
I think though with people pleasing, because putting others before you can also be mistaken, as I said, as being selfless, but people pleasing is where you are putting others before you because you fear that you might not be liked, or you fear that you might disappoint someone.
Yep.
And then the idea of you disappointing someone is like eating you up inside. And I can see that happens a lot to you, where if you feel like you've let someone down in any shape or form, especially someone that's really close to you, it's like it's like a big problem to you. Whereas to me, like, yes, I used to be like very much so like that, and it used to really get to me, but now I've realized that I kind of need to
detach yourself.
Yeah. And also just to remind myself that I'm just as important as the people that I'm putting before me.
Towards. Yep.
Because I think the way I kind of look at it is, I think I'm a pretty considerate, kind person. Yeah. And I think sometimes another thing is those that are people pleasers. So for example, Brendan or anyone else, they might mistake, like they might confuse people pleasing with being a kind person. But there's kind of a difference between being a kind person and being a people pleaser.
Yeah.
I think that people pleasing is where the intent of what you do, whether it's an action or something, the intent is you want to feel gratification from other people. You want other people to think that you're amazing, and that, what you're concerned about is how others perceive you. Whereas when you're kind, when you're a kind person, it's, I guess, you're doing it with the intent to make yourself feel good that you've done that kind action. Does that kind of make sense?
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And then there was just this thing I quickly wanted to say. I wrote it down. So people pleasing prioritize the needs of others at the expense of your own, while kindness requires giving equal consideration to the needs of yourself and to others. So being kind is where you balance the needs of yourself and other people.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my take on the way I kind of perceive it, and hope that, you know, yourself and other people that really struggle with like feeling as though that when you're a people pleaser, you're kind, when they're actually different. You need to find that it's a fine line between the two.
Because I consider myself quite a kind, very
100%.
generous person, but I more lean towards the people pleasing side, which I'm starting to get better at it, because I'm starting to realize one thing is that my time is just as valuable as the person's time that I'm trying to help them with whatever they're doing, or I'm doing that thing that they want me to do. So that's one thing I've started to realize. And I think a major thing with people that people please is that they want to, they don't want the conflict. And that's like me. When people say something, I'm just like, yes, don't worry, I'll do it. Or yes, I'll help you. No, you don't have to stress about it. But in reality, if those people are true friends or true people, family or whatever, those people will understand if you're like, sorry, no, I actually can't do it. I have my own commitments, or sorry, I'm not financially like stable at the moment. I can't do it. People will understand. But if you're just people pleasing random people, they might not understand that and think that you're quite selfish. And for somebody that wants to please people, it's kind of like a stab in their heart, and they're like, oh, actually, no, I'll go help you. But in reality, it's like, no, sorry, I can't do it. The things that you need to hear in the back of your head is you cannot please everybody. Everybody can't be pleased.
And the thing with that is you can't be pleasing people at the expense of your own happiness.
Exactly.
I think that's really important.
Exactly.
But I must say, going back to how you're talking about that, you know, you've noticed you're a people pleaser and everything like that. I think you need to recognize that you're actually self-aware. That's the first step to changing, because there are lots of people out there, not even with people pleasing, just with things in general, like many different things. Once you're aware of something, you can make a change. If you're not aware of something and you're in denial and you don't see what maybe other people see, that's when it's really hard to kind of become better. But I also think it also comes down to what I was saying before, between that fine line of being kind and being a people pleaser. You need to balance the distribution of each of the person's needs, your own and the person that you're trying to please. There was one thing I was just going to say that you sparked my kind of mind. I guess we're all humans, so it's within us to want to be positively regarded by other people and kind of we have that urge within us to make other people happy. Like, I'm guilty of that too, but that's human. That's what we are as humans. We want to be liked. I just think that that's important to remember in kind of the scheme of of everything that we're talking about right now. I think people pleasers really sometimes maybe dive too far into the needs of others, and then when they dive too far into the needs of others and they're thinking about that, they forget themselves. Because they do say that people pleasers do tend to lose themselves at some point in their lives, because they're so focused on everyone else. And that sucks. That sucks.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, how are you meant to grow as an individual when you're so fixated on everybody, like pleasing everybody else and making sure that everybody's fine but yourself? And I did want to raise as well that being a people pleaser isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just something that for myself this year in 2024, I want to get better at and try to remove it.
I have a question though for you.
Yeah.
When did you start to realize that you were a people pleaser? Like, did someone bring it up to you? Did you start to notice that? Like, what triggered you to realize you were a people pleaser?
That's a good question, actually. Honestly, I think the first person to ever say that I was a people pleaser, shout out my sister Christina. Honestly,
I knew you were going to say that.
I'm pretty sure Christina told me that you're a people pleaser. And human nature. We all get very defensive and are like, oh, no, I'm not, blah, blah, blah. I've come to terms that my time is very precious. It's very limited. And I want to make sure that I keep a healthy balance for everybody, but also myself. We'll wrap it up there. I hope you all enjoyed. I hope everybody's enjoying their holidays. And I'll be back. Maybe Jules will be back on the next episode. And
Thanks for having me.
no, that's all good. Everybody who thinks they're a people pleaser, nothing wrong with it. Let's get better at it. Let's focus on ourselves and really become a little bit selfish with our own time.
Yeah. Let's be the best versions of ourselves in 2024.
Exactly right. Love you all. Thank you
Over
all
and
for
out.
listening and watching. We'll see you on the next one.
Bye.